I was cranky. I was tired. Because I was experiencing some emotional burnout unmasking for comedy. I unmasked hard last night, and I want to tell you all about it and why I did what I did. Hi, I'm Brett, the AuDHD Boss, and on this channel we talk about ADHD and autism in the workplace. I'm Brett. I'm an autistic manager with ADHD, and today I'm taking a little detour than some of my normal content. I'm going to focus specifically on an event I did last night called Couch to Mic. It's a writing program that you go in with the idea that you'll perform stand-up comedy after 4 weeks of training. You get up, you take on stage to a full house, a full audience, a paying audience. Then you perform 5 to 7 minutes of stand-up comedy. This was a special Pride edition, and I was really hemming and hawing about whether or not this is something that I wanted to do. I really wanted to find a way to push myself into a new situation where I would have to try to unmask. I wanted to get myself to a place where I could unmask in a different way. The second thing was I really wanted to do something different for Pride this year, and I really wanted to find a different way to connect with the community in a way that I've been really struggling to. I came out really late. I came out in my 30s, and it's been really hard to connect with the queer community because I'm autistic and I don't leave the house very much, and I don't like to go to a lot of events. I go to Pride every year, but I don't really know how to socialize, and it's really hard for me to build connection and build community in person. I'm great doing it online, but I really am not good about doing it in person. We have a huge LGBTQ plus community. I thought this was a way that I could kind of get into a community in some capacity and make some connections. I had a great time. A friend of mine kept saying to other people, trying to explain why I was doing this. They were trying to explain it, without going too much into the autism, by saying, oh, he's trying to get out of his comfort zone. And I heard a couple of people say that 2 or 3 times. And can I tell you, that kind of annoyed me. I wasn't trying to get out of my comfort zone. I was trying to get in to my comfort zone. To the people who know me best and the people who work with me every day know that I'm a big fan of going on Mrs. Maisel style rants. I do it a lot. It's half the reason why I started a YouTube channel. Now, I don't often do that here on YouTube. Sometimes I do it on TikTok. I specifically have a pattern of doing this with really close friends where I start to get really wound up and I go into this ADHD, autistic, AuDHD kind of just rant where I just sort of start channeling this energy and I speak in rapid fire routines and I start to zing, 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 zing. People generally love it. I do this when I would go to parties. I would sometimes find my way parties, but it happens accidentally. It happens as the sort of thing that I've got to be in the right environment around the right people, and someone has to sort of set me up in a way that makes it work. And I've always called it my Mrs. Maisel rant because it's very much how Mrs. Maisel, the show on Amazon Prime, would kind of find her way into comedy. And much like Mrs. Maisel, the struggle that I had was figuring out how to actually then write comedy, and then perform it and do it on a script and sort of stick to the script more or less. The way my brain works, and I think the way Mrs. Maisel's brain works, considering she's a fictional character, was that once I got up on stage, I was able to sort of ad-lib and roll with the punches when things went wrong. And there were a couple of tiny things that did go wrong, but we'll get to that. One of my great joys is when I go into that space, I really am unmasking. I'm unmasking in kind of a hard way. And I just go for it. I can feel the energy around me. I can feel people kind of excited about it. I can feel the energy of people laughing and enjoying it and kind of cheering me on. That's where I'm truly unmasking. I mean, I am performing a little bit when I do that because I know I'm performing, I recognize it, but I'm not really masking too much in those moments. Sometimes I do because, I'm trying to play for a laugh. So I'm going to maybe a little bit of an absurd place to sort of get the joke. I'm a huge comedy nerd. It's one of my special interests. I was raised on a lot of sitcoms and SNL and a lot of stand-up comedians. And as I've spent years in that sort of feeling like an alien autism kind of way, or not really knowing how to fit in or how to be around other people, even being closeted for so many years, I learned really early on that if I can make jokes or make people laugh, that would work really well. That would help endear me to people. It would help me kind of figure out where I could fit in between 10 and 15. And I would be somebody who would constantly be redoing Jim Carrey impersonations or stuff from SNL, try to make people laugh with that stuff. But it was also a way that I could lean into a script so that I had some kind of thing to do so I didn't feel so awkward. And if I didn't have a script like that, a performance, and I've done this my whole life. When I mask, I've always taken something from a TV show or a performance or a bit, or I see how a character acts and I start to model that. I use that as camouflage. I sort of adapt to that in that chameleon style way. I would take on those personalities, those ideas, those personas, and a lot of them are TV characters, or they're TV bits, or they're TV personalities. I would do this with like I Dream a Genie, Bewitched, The Dick Van Dyke Show. Dick Van Dyke was a huge one for me. Maxwell Smart and Get Smart. Even to some degree like Superman and Batman and all these different things. All of these characters sort of formed the various personas that I would adopt over the years. So this was coming up, and I knew a couple of people that had done it. So I went and I talked to somebody who had done it. They walked me through it. I really had to overanalyze if this was something that I really wanted to do. There's that real awkwardness between, you know, I am somebody's boss, but also this is like a thing I really want to do. So I signed up for it and I went for it. So you had to go in specifically with some framework, something that you wanted to work on or build off of. And I happened to be watching the new Mike Birbiglia special. I really love Mike Birbiglia. I love his writing style. I listen to his podcast. I've studied how he talks about writing and comedy for years and years and years. Idea of storytelling and jokes and put them together. I sat down and sort of quickly crafted something that I thought would be funny and really good. I had a really strong opening line. I had a really strong closing line. And then I just need to fill in the gaps of the things that happened in between for this one scenario that I was talking about. So I go in on the first class. It was about 4 weeks ago. Sat around the room as a small group of us, and we started to get to know each other. And so when we all go around the room, we start to share out the piece of writing that we've done so far, and we read as much of it as we're comfortable with, or we read, you know, just whatever we've got. My opening line is written to be a little shocking and a little risque, and then the story goes from there, and I talk about, you know, my coming out story, my queer identity, being raised in a high control church. Did really well. It got a lot of laughs. I felt really good about it. I was really nervous, you know, standing up in front of a group of strangers and reading something deeply personal to me in the hopes of getting them to laugh. But it worked, and I felt really great about it. I went home and I started to just feel this energy and this strong kind of like heightened feeling inside of me. All of my senses were really wild and sort of built up, and I couldn't quite figure out what that feeling was. And I was like, what is that? What is that? What is that? I can't figure out what that is. I was texting a friend, a really close friend, and they had said, you know, you're having an adrenaline moment. That's your adrenaline speaking. I'm like, okay, I think it's adrenaline and a little bit more. I think it's a little bit of unmasking. It's a little bit of anxiety. It's a little bit of rumination. It's a little bit, oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God, what have I got myself into? I needed to like work this out. And of course, it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. So I did what I always do, ice pack in the back of the neck, drinking really cold water, went out and took a quick walk, you know, tried to like do whatever I could to like do all the tricks that I talk about here to try to get that energy worked out. Thankfully, it worked. I was able to go to sleep okay that night, and I slept really, really hard because I burned off so much energy. Again, we talk about having an unmasking and masking plan. I'm going into this new situation with people I haven't met before, people I don't know. I'm about to tell something really deep and personal. I'm masking as I walk into this event, because I always mask in the same way when I go into a new situation, and I try to suss out the room to figure out how it works, what's the dynamic, what's the energy here, what am I going to do? I had to unmask hard to do this thing. I was really nervous in doing that. Masking, unmasking moments, but it was still a different kind of masking than I'm normally doing because I had to perform in a certain way. Letting some vulnerability and authenticity out while still trying to mask. And that took a lot of extra mental strength and extra mental energy, and so I crashed hard that night. I slept so hard. The next morning, I woke up feeling really overtired, really groggy, and I was struggling to function. And I had to go to work that day, and I had a lot of meetings that started like, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I was really struggling that whole work day. And as soon as the work day ended, I had to take a nap. I was cranky. I was tired. Because I was experiencing some emotional burnout that I wasn't prepared for and I didn't have a plan for. I didn't plan for the things that I always talk about, having a masking and unmasking plan. I didn't plan for it because I also had to mask that entire day at work. 2 days later from the day of performance. And I realized, that's what's going on. I've got anxiety, I've got performance, I've got nerves, I've got all this stuff. I've got to work my way through this. Fast forward to the next week, it happened again. I felt all that energy again, but now I'm like, okay, I'm aware of it. I know it's happening. I'm recognizing the signals in my body. I know what I'm supposed to do. Same thing again. Exhausted, completely exhausted during work the next day. It took me about 3 weeks to realize, as this pattern then continued for every week after that, that I really should have not had an early morning meeting the next morning, or I needed to take the next day as a sick day, or I needed to take at least the morning off or something. I needed to schedule something there to sort of protect myself the next morning, but I kept forgetting every week. And I ended up just sort of having a really difficult work day. And I was short and I was cranky and I probably wasn't the best colleague those days. Fourth week, this week. Monday, this past Monday, time of recording, dress rehearsal. So I had to go up on stage. I had to actually, we did the full dress rehearsal, do the whole thing. What I've done for the last week and a half is I've been trying to memorize the script as perfectly as I can. I edited it down. I got it really tight. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew where I needed to pause for laughs. I knew where I wanted to do certain inflections, where I wanted to be more animated versus less animated, where I wanted to be more this, more that. I had to learn different mic technique. I'm trying to think about where I'm moving on the stage. I'm thinking about walking on the stage. Then here's the critical part. I have my scripts. Now I had bullet listed out all my scripts as opposed to being the full script written out because I had most of it memorized at this point. I just needed like trigger lines to get to the parts that I needed to say and the connected lines to get me to the next idea. So I wrote all that out with a Sharpie on a piece of paper and had 6 pieces of paper. And we were allowed to bring those up on stage with us, and there's a music stand that you can put those in. And I basically just needed the music stand there and look at it as a reference as I did the performance with the stage. Felt I was pretty ready. I felt really well prepared. Day of show, I took the day off from work so that I could just, be anxious all day if necessary. But what I did for that entire week, all of this week, was I spent every conceivable waking moment that I could just rehearsing that script over and over and over again. So the performer before me goes up, and again, incredible, just absolutely incredible, absolutely does an amazing job. But in doing so, he moved the music stand way off stage, and he moved the mic stand way out of the way, and the mic stand was kind of starting to fall apart at that point. So during his performance, I was looking at that music stand, and we had went through this in dress rehearsal that someone was going to put the music stand back so that I could use it. But when that moment was supposed to happen, it didn't happen. It stayed off stage, and no one had fixed the mic stand. So I get up on stage, and as soon as I walk on, you have to walk on stage from the audience. So I walk on stage. I walked from one point of the stage all the way to the other point of the stage because it was off stage on the other end. So I had to go over, pick up the music stand, bring it back, and then I had to come over here to get the microphone stand, bring the microphone stand up, and then fix it. And as I'm doing this, the microphone stand is flying apart. So I'm like trying to befuddle with my scripts. I'm trying to get the microphone stand, and I'm trying to like play this up at the same time. And thankfully, the audience was really with me. Anyways, the performance goes great. All of my material hit really hard.
Now, if you are going to aggressively hit on someone you've not spoken to in over 2 decades, what pose would you strike? Some men are very confident, very bold. Other men, you can see the fear in their eyes. The regret is instant. My guy, he went with kind of a confused shrug.
I was really excited about how everything went, and I felt so calm. My biggest fear when I was preparing, when I was getting ready, like my biggest fear, because at first I was trying to do it without the script, was that my ADHD sometimes causes me these incredible brain freezes where I just completely lock up. Like I know what I want to say, I know what I want to do. I run scripts all the time in my head, but yet in this instance, I just completely froze. One of the times that I went on stage, I completely froze. Like I had to wait for it to like kick back in. And one quick glance at the scripts, it all came back to me and I was good to go. But I was so nervous that was going to happen to me again. So that's why I practice so much, so frequently. And I think because I practice so hard and so much, that it really is it's just in there now. It's just totally in there. It's like locked in like a perfect ADHD thing. It was about 6 minutes long, and it, maybe 6.5 minutes long. It moved just so quickly and it moved so fast that I don't even remember most of it now. I remember enjoying it. I remember I got a lot of laughs. I know people loved it. And so when it finished, I came off stage and I was doing these deep breathing exercises before, and I was doing these deep breathing exercises afterwards because I was trying to like not have a panic attack. I was trying to not let my body get tense because I didn't want to get up there and faint. I was so nervous about fainting. So I was doing these really deep breath exercises all throughout. I was trying to recognize the signs in my body. I was trying to like pay attention to all these different things. I felt really calm and relaxed afterwards. I met all my friends that came to see the show. I was really excited to see everybody. Went out to dinner with some friends afterwards. Again, felt really calm and relaxed the entire time. Got home, felt really calm and relaxed the entire time. Never felt anxious. Didn't feel that adrenaline. Didn't feel all that stuff running through my body again. And the whole time I'm like, why am I not feeling that? Woke up this morning. I felt pretty good as I woke up. And then about an hour after I woke up, boom, all that exhaustion hit me all of a sudden like a wave. I've been exhausted all day. Best part about everything though is at no point after the performance and have any rumination, any regrets. I didn't play anything back and go, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? I'm genuinely happy and proud of everything that I did. And I'm very proud of myself for doing this. I'm really proud for younger me who, you know, would have been so excited to do something like this and never would have thought we'd ever do this, let alone talk about our sexuality on stage in front of a packed room full of strangers. To be able to do that in a queer, safe space, to be able to do that, you know, with my ADHD and autism, to be able to do that with my anxiety and my OCD, to be able to do that to process, you know, religious trauma, and to be able to take a stage and talk about my sexual identity and just all these different things about my identity. So healing, so powerful. So I found my way to unmask, do a performance, and honestly, it really was my comfort zone. Like getting up there, it felt so natural to have those laughs. It felt so natural to do that. It felt so natural to be able to just run with it. And that's what I needed. Like it's the thing that I didn't get in all the rehearsals and all the practicing was I needed that spark from the energy in the room. The moment I felt the energy, which I talk about a lot on this channel, is I sort of have that empathy radar. Well, I have those feelings radars, which comes along with the autism. So when I got the energy of the room right, I was able to just go and be myself and do all the things that I wanted to do and unmask the way I really wanted to unmask. And maybe I would have liked to unmask a little bit more, but I did it in such a way that I was so happy about that I just feel so accomplished. And I feel like I did this thing and would 100% do it again. Now that I figured out Mike Birbiglia's writing pattern, because he've talked about it so beautifully, I'm now writing other things in my head that I really need to actually write down in case I ever have the opportunity to do this again. Thank you for indulging my unmasking stand-up comedy story. I really wanted to record this and document this and put it out there into the world. And I hope there was something here that was helpful for somebody. I hope you found this entertaining. I had fun and I really enjoyed myself and I put myself out there and I'm proud of myself for that. And I'm really proud of everything that I accomplished here. If you enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. If there's a topic you'd like for me to talk about, or if there's something you'd like to know more about, please let me know in the comments below. Happy to take requests. I do that all the time. Thanks for watching. Please check out some of the other videos while you're here.